This is part 2 of my Funko signed collection. The first one I did was just specifically dividing it up with WWE superstars. And then there's also a separate video I did, which were the pop comedians, which were also signed. Each of these has kind of a different story or background to it. Let's start off with Mr. Billy D. Williams. And this one I was able to get signed at Phoenix Fan Fusion, which is the local Phoenix Comic Con. And this was back in 2019, obviously got canceled this year. And this is right before, a couple months before Rise of Skywalker came out. And as soon as I heard Billy D. Williams was going to be there, I'm like, I have to get this signed because he's an original actor from Star Wars, Legendary, and Empire Strikes Back. Dude did the malt beer commercials. He was also different roles, like he was in the original Batman Tim Burton run, and he played not Two-Face but Harvey Dent. So he's had a lot of like classic roles, but obviously this is his most iconic role was Lando Calrissian, and then able to reprise that in Rise of Skywalker. He wasn't exactly the cheapest autograph to get, so I settled for the autograph only and did not get a photo with him. Hopefully, if ever it comes around again, I would like to get a photo with him, but he was kind of charging a lot for both, and I would rather just have the autograph since I collect Funko Pops and collect autograph versions of them, so I needed to have that when picking and choosing different things. Then he had his own certificate of authenticity that they offered at his table from, what is this, Cool Waters Productions. It has the number on it. So that was real cool because it's kind of like if he comes around again, I would like to get a photo with him. The guy's kind of up there in age, so who knows how many more active signing years and convention years he has left. But it was really cool to meet someone and get something autographed that I've seen their film countless times. I've seen them on the screen. Like, my childhood was like a lot of Star Wars and watching reruns, and super cool. The next also cool person I got to meet at that exact same convention that year was Ray Park. He's got one of the more crazier signatures too. And this Darth Maul pop is probably one of my favorite Darth Maul pops altogether, just because he has the hood. Kind of wish they would have had the double-sided lightsaber in this one, but he doesn't. And this one's from the 2019 Galactic Convention, and I also got the certification added to it, just because it was just another like $10. He's a super like nice dude too. The line went really slow just because he spent so much time with each fan and talking to them, and even with the kids who do martial arts, he was there like doing different like lightsaber things, like battles and martial art moves with them, and he was constantly getting up out of his chair and from behind the desk and coming out and really getting into it with fans. So you could tell this guy really, appreciates his fans and takes his time. So if you ever catch him at a convention or anything, dude is super like nice, polite. You won't feel like rushed. Yes, you'll be annoyed as a fan just standing there waiting long time till it's your turn, but you can't hate him for it because you're like, hey, he's really devoting like personal time to make these moments special for everyone that's in line. So yes, it adds for lengthier wait time, but the guy like makes it worth it, so you can't fault him for that. Also at that same convention, this was like a 3-day convention, they also had a couple characters from like Daredevil and the Marvel series on Netflix. And I love the Daredevil series from Netflix. I'm kind of like sad that it got canceled, along with several other people who have probably signed that Save Daredevil petition. Like, Charlie Cox was a phenomenal Daredevil. You can see right there he signed Charlie Cox, DD, Daredevil. Really cool stuff. When I first remember watching the first episode and the first couple episodes and seeing how violent and dark this thing was, I was like, this is the Daredevil we've like been owed for several years. It would have been cool if they integrated him into the Marvel universe somehow. Hopefully, you can never say never. They'll find a way to bring him back in some form, whether in a film or another TV season, because I would like to see more of this Daredevil. That was a cool piece to get autographed, and he's a super like nice guy as well. And the next one is Miss Jessica Jones, Krysten Ritter. She was also at the same convention, and they all had their own like panels where they would talk about their program, and you could ask them questions. And this is right before I think she announced she was pregnant, and before the launch of the last season, which was just at that time hovering around. They didn't have a release date. They already axed all the other Marvel series, but they hadn't said anything about Jessica Jones yet, and they already had recorded the final season. I mean, we didn't know it was the final season, but we pretty much figured since Daredevil got cut that most likely Jessica Jones would also get cut, and it did, but at least we got another season out of it. She's a really good actress too, nails this character. She's funny in it. I like the humor that they use. So it's cool to get this signed. I don't know how often she does conventions and stuff, but when I saw that they were going to be there, I wanted to get them both signed because I was a fan of the Marvel Netflix series. The next pop I was able to get autographed is this big piece, this Pennywise and Gutter, and I got it signed by the little kid who plays Georgie. You can see he signed it as Georgie, and then he put an inscription there where you'll float too. And this is kind of an off the wall type signing. We have out here in Phoenix, there's a vegan horror bakery, and every now and then they bring in celebrities or people who have to do with horror, because that's kind of what their theme of their bakery is. I think they brought in one of the actor who was in Hellraiser, Pinhead. And then this one, he lives out here in Arizona, so he did a lot of appearances right during the time of It 2. And this was also, I think, in 2019. And I think during It 1 he made some appearances too, but I didn't get to see any of those. So when It 2 came out and I saw he was doing a signing, I wanted to get this signed. Ideally, it'd be cool to get this other half signed by Skarsgård, which could happen. It depends if he ever does any conventions, and once everything goes back to hopefully normal, it'll be a nice way to complete this piece right here. He's a nice kid too. There was a pretty lengthy line to get him to sign, and I think it was pretty cheap to get his autograph. It was probably I think $20. It was funny too, because in the picture where I'm holding this and taking a picture with him, he's like, "Hold this with some pride, man." I didn't expect that type of assertiveness to come out of a little kid like that. But he's real cool. And I always think what if, his career launches off and he becomes some sort of bigger actor in the future. And even if he doesn't, these It movies I think were awesome. It Part 1 I think was way better than 2, but both were great. But if his career does go into other areas, it's cool to get a piece signed from when he was that young. The next up, I have an Office pop that was signed. This is from Craig Robinson, who plays Daryl Philbin. As you can see, it says Steve, thank you, brother. And then it has his initials, or there's the way he signs. when I got this one signed, I was kind of just barely kind of getting into, not barely getting into collecting ones, but like buying like a Sharpie or pen and providing it for the person who was signing it. A lot of these other ones that I got signed previously, they already had their own like paint pens, except for like Krysten Ritter. She just signed it with a Sharpie. So I just figured it was a color Sharpie. I didn't know like they're like deco paint pens and all these things that I like later learned that pop out more. So this one, it does show up. It's harder to see. It doesn't pop as much as like I use like a blue or yellow or white paint pen. It would just pop out at you literally like out of the box. I saw him. He was performing at the Improv out here. Super funny dude. It's like not so much of a stand-up. It's more kind of like a music comedy show. He's there with his keyboard, singing some funny songs, telling a couple jokes here and there, and just having fun with the crowd. And it's just a good fun time for about an hour, hour and a half. And afterwards, I got to meet him, take a picture with him, and get this signed. And I'm a huge fan of The Office, huge fan of a lot of the movies he's in. He's in a lot of funny comedies, especially with all the guys like Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill and the Apatow crew, and he's involved. And then also he was in Kevin Smith movie, the Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which I thought was hilarious, and he's in there too, funding the film in that movie. And then here's the last pop I want to show here is the Red Ranger, Steve Cardenas. And he played Rocky, which was the second Red Ranger in the original series. I think after they had some like contract issues with the first one, he took over and he was in the film that came out. And he recently started doing like a lot of comic book appearances. So this is the first like physical signing I've gone to since the coronavirus pandemic happened. They promoted a lot of physical distancing, wearing a mask. I didn't take a picture with him. I just got this signed. He just recently posted on his Instagram that he was moving to England to be with his girlfriend. So it's going to be a lot harder to find moments to get things signed from him now in the United States. So it was kind of cool that I took it up when he hit up the local toy store, comic book store near me. And I was able to get this signed, not knowing that he wouldn't be doing more local U.S. signings anymore. I think he did a couple more cities, but recently he posted he was moving to England, and he'll probably be doing a lot of appearances out there. So that's a look and some of my stories from part 2 of my signed Funko Pop collection. And I just finished doing my first virtual signing with Kevin Nash. I sent in 2 items to get signed, and this is from darkparlororiginals.com. And once those get shipped out and arrive, I will be posting the video of him signing along with the video of the items that were signed, and just go over all my experiences with the virtual signing as we adjust in these coronavirus days and times, and still try to support our fandom, nerdom, and love of Funko Pops and signed Pops.